When we want to learn something, there are three stages in actually to get that true knowledge. In Tibetan Buddhism, is described as hearing, reflecting, and meditating. When we get an information from outside, this is hearing. This is the first stage. The second stage, we actually need to reflect on that. We actually need to make it in our own terms and think about it ourselves. And then, only then, we can actually meditate on that. In this context, when we say meditate, we don't mean sit in meditation and being concentrated on the breath or something like that. We actually mean, in the more accurate translation of this specific meditation, would be to be accustomed to. Or if you want, to apply, or to integrate, or to put into action, which is this is when the knowledge becomes true. This is when the knowledge becomes something that we can actually manifest in the world. So the first stage, we listen to something from outside. The second stage, we process that, we reflect about it. The third stage, we actually put it into action. And only when we put it into action, only when we apply it, it becomes a true thing. It becomes like a true knowledge that we have. And it's like, I know that smoking is bad for me. It's like, then I just know it. It doesn't actually mean that I would stop smoking, because I just know it. But if I'm not stopping smoking, I don't really know that it's bad for me. I have somewhere in my mind that it is thinking that it's good for me, because I feel good when I smoke, so it's good for me, I'm attached to it. So I have this like contradiction between what I feel and what I know. And as long as I not really apply it, not really put it into action, it will still not be a knowledge. The knowledge is only when I actually can be practical about it. This is the understanding of knowledge in Tibetan Buddhism. It's not something that we have as a mind game. It's not an intellectual understanding. It's actually a way to make my life a better life. There is a problem though, because between knowledge and true knowledge and experiencing knowledge, there is some barrier that is stopping us and holding us back from actually putting it together. There are so many things that we know, like so many different things that we know that are really, really good for us, and we actually don't do it. And there are so many things that are really bad for us, and we still do it. Why is that? Because there is a separation between hearing, which is the right side of the brain, and reflecting, which is the left side of the brain, and the back part of the brain that is going all the way to the spine, which is knowledge and meditation, being accustomed to. From these three parts of the brain, there is a separation to what we feel and what we do, which is in the heart. So we have two different things. We have the we have the right side, the left side, the middle side of the brain. These are the parts that we described just a moment ago. Listening and reflecting and applying. But we have the emotions and the feelings and the wishes and the desires that are represented by the heart. And what's happened when we cannot bring the knowledge into the heart is that we still know things, we know them intellectually, but we don't bring them down to the heart. Why? Because there is something that is blocking us right over here, right in the level of the truth. And this thing is making us being doubtful of what we know. and making us follow our desires and our wishes and our low level of emotions rather than the higher level of knowledge that we have. This is something that each and every one of us has. It's blocking us from bringing the things that we want in life, the things that we really know that will be really good for us, and to put them into action. It's like really cutting this connection. And what happens many times is that we have an opposite motion. Instead of having the motion from the brain going down to the heart and controlling the heart, bringing the knowledge into expression in action and in feeling, we have a completely different, opposite, reversed process, that our desires and our emotions are actually controlling our mind and our brain. And it's like something that we really want to do, and we know that it's really not good for us. What will happen if this emotion and this desire will come up to the brain? It will bring, let's say, just for the metaphor, smoke to the brain. And the brain will come very foggy, and we start having all the excuses in the world, even though we really know this is really not good for us. Still, we will find all the excuses of why actually we should do that. This is when the emotions are coming up to the brain. But we want a different situation, a different case. We want to have the brain going down to the heart, going down to the desire, and channeling the desire. This can be something that is bringing us into such a higher level of life than what we have right now. Because let's go back to the example of smoking. If I know that it's really not good for me to smoke, and I still smoke, I have this separation between what I know and what I do, what I know and what I feel. But if I really work and strengthen the ability of hearing, listening, and knowing the thing, knowing really, and putting it down into the heart, I will actually stop smoking. I will actually benefit from that and get myself into a much higher level of let's say, control over my low level of emotions, and actually lead myself in life to where I really want to be. Because we always have like conflict between different emotions and different things, that desires that we have. And if we work from the emotion up to the brain, it can be a very dangerous situation. We are getting so much into this, going into the wrong direction, and having very destructive behaviors, having things that are really not desirable for us, but because the emotions, the desires are really controlling us, they also start to control the brain. They also start to control the process of knowledge that we have. And in this way, we cannot achieve anything. We can see it in our life so much, that our desires, our emotions, our thoughts are actually controlling like our life course. What we want to do, instead of bring from down up, bring from up down, getting a true knowledge of the nature of life, a true knowledge of what is really good for us, and bring it down to the heart, down into action. And it's only can be done by actually going into the process of knowledge, knowing more and more and more and more, and going again into these 3 levels or 3 stages of getting the knowledge. Getting more knowledge of what is good for us. But not only that, really exploring with that. So it's like, for example, if we say that like yoga is healthy for us and meditation is really relaxing for us, this is knowledge that comes from outside. It's like it's something that we hear, something that we listen to. It's not enough. Now we need to start exploring that. We need to start to thinking about it. We need to start experiencing it in our own terms. We need to start internalizing that. And then we actually have the leap of faith and bring this knowledge, bring this understanding, bring this reflection into action. When we bring it into action, we actually direct our emotion, direct our desire into bringing us into a better place. And when we get into the better place, we feel so accomplished, so powerful, so much more. We can look ourselves in the mirror. It's like, think about it. If I know that I don't want to eat this cake, and this cake is really bad for me, and I eat it, and I go and look at the mirror, it's like, even if I'm not gaining weight, I feel like, I'm weak, I'm feeling not so good. And it's like, just looking at myself in the mirror is not a good experience. But if I know something, and I actually bring it into action, whatever it would be, I know it to be true, and I bring it into action, then it's true knowledge. And when I look at myself in the mirror and I can experiencing now, oh wow, I can actually direct my life. I am the creator of my own experience and my own life. I'm not being controlled by external stimulation. I'm not being controlled by low levels of emotions. I'm not being controlled by desires and jealousy and hatred and anger. I'm being controlled by true knowledge, true wisdom that comes to me from true sources. And I actually really can bring it and apply it. So the last thing that I would like to mention is that this process can be very much enforced when we acquire more and more wisdom. So I really want to recommend to go deeper into spiritual teachings. And when I say spiritual teachings, I mean yoga and Buddhism and Taoism and the religions like Christianity and Judaism and Islam, and getting the true deep knowledge of the self. More we know it and actually reflect on it and actually bring it into action and make it practical, more our life will go into the right direction. Same goes for psychology, and same goes for body work, and same goes for all the teachings that can actually be practical. These teachings are also called vertical, the vertical knowledge. All the teachings that can actually be applied and can be experienced and bring us into the next level of our own evolution.